Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack how a simple, everyday kitchen spice literally alters human liver metabolism and, historically, drove global macroeconomic commerce. We interact with this stuff every single day, right? Usually taking it completely for granted. But the truth is, what we casually grind over our dinner plates is known historically as black gold. It is the single most traded spice of all time, and it packs a biochemical profile so incredibly potent it's actually utilized in modern clinical pharmacology.
To truly appreciate this marvel, we've got to look at it from a few different angles. We'll be covering the botany of the pepper vine, the color metamorphosis, phytochemicals and volatile oils, piperine and clinical bioenhancement, and finally, the global market and macroeconomics. All right, section 1, the botany of the pepper vine. Let's get into it.
To really understand the science here, we first have to meet the organism itself, starting right at the macroscopic level. Before it ever reaches your table, this plant has to survive and thrive in some of the most highly specific environmental conditions on Earth. The crucial point here is that this isn't just some standard bush. Actually, it's a highly advanced climbing vine that demands incredibly strict rainfall and temperature models. Specifically, Piper nigrum is an obligate humid tropic plant. It literally refuses to grow unless it gets a perfectly uniform warm temperature, right between 20 and 35 degrees Celsius, alongside a heavy, predictable annual rainfall model of about 1,500 to 2,500 millimeters. And it relies entirely on well-aerated, organic-rich, volcanic or lateritic loams. When you look at the plant anatomy, it's fascinating. To make it easy to picture, imagine the vine's specialized and adventitious roots as literal grappling hooks. They emerge right from the leaf nodes, anchoring the vine so it can scale support trees or trellises up to 10 meters into the air. And the flowers? They bloom in these long, slender, drooping capkin-like spikes, almost like hanging botanical chandeliers. Each spike houses 50 to 150 tiny florets, which ultimately produce globose, small sessile drupes. Those are the tiny 3 to 6 millimeter spheres we recognize as peppercorns, all nested among deep, glossy green, coriaceous leaves. But, this towering architectural beauty comes with extreme vulnerability. Because the vine demands flawless drainage in those specific loams, any root flooding is essentially a death sentence. It triggers rapid, devastating environmental stressors like foot rot caused by the pathogen Phytophthora capsicum, which can wipe out an entire crop incredibly fast. Moving on to section 2, the color metamorphosis. Now here is a really cool botanical magic trick. Those different colored peppers you see at the store, they are not different species. It all comes down to harvest timing. It's a phenomenal showcase of phenotypic processing. Let's step through the life cycle and see how endogenous enzymatic cascades and post-harvest stabilization yield 4 distinct varieties from the exact same vine. First up, green pepper. These are immature drupes harvested early, then freeze-dried or chemically stabilized to completely halt the enzyme-driven browning. Second is black pepper. These are fully grown but technically unripe green drupes. They're briefly blanched in alt water, which triggers a rapid endogenous enzymatic cascade, causing localized phenolic compounds to oxidize. That transforms the green skin into that deeply wrinkled charcoal black pericarp as it sun-dries. Third, red pepper. These are fully mature, ripe red drupes left intact, preserved in specialized brines or acid solutions to stop degradation. And finally, white pepper. Farmers take fully mature red drupes and soak them in running water for about a week. This process, called redding, strips away the soft outer skin, leaving only the pale, smooth inner endocarp seed. Same exact plant, completely manipulated by harvest timing. Let's dive into section 3, phytochemicals and volatile oils. We're zooming in even further now to the microscopic chemistry that gives pepper its unique culinary and medical profile. Because beyond the physical colors, there is a wonderfully complex molecular canopy at play. First things first, we absolutely must divorce black pepper from chili heat. Pepper's signature bite comes entirely from nitrogenous lipid alkaloids that are localized right inside the crystalline outer core of the seed shell. It works completely independent of capsaicin. So while chilies give you a burning sensation, black pepper provides a sharp bite driven by a totally different chemical class. Looking at the specific volatile oils, we can see exactly how they create those unique aromatic kitchen profiles. Lightweight monoterpenes like pinene, sabineine, and limonene form the volatile aroma canopy we smell when we cook. They drive carminative gastrointestinal comfort, ease abdominal bloating, and even provide broad antimicrobial protection. Meanwhile, you have beta-caryophyllene, which is a macrocyclic sesquiterpene. This acts as a selective dietary cannabinoid receptor 2, or CB2 agonist, executing deep systemic anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective actions. And of course, making up 5 to 9% of the total dry seed mass is our star pungent crystalline alkaloid, piperine. Which brings us to Section 4, piperine and clinical bioenhancement. For the clinical pharmacists, healthcare providers, and clinical researchers tuning in, this is where our explainer transitions into some really high-level clinical pharmacology.
Think about this. How does a minute fraction of pepper unlock turmeric's systemic healing power in the human body? This question highlights the medical marvel of piperine as a world-class clinical bioenhancement agent. See, turmeric contains curcumin, an incredible healing compound, but on its own, our bodies really struggle to absorb it effectively.
But when you co-administer just a minute fraction of piperine alongside curcumin, it boosts the human body's systemic absorption of the medicine by a staggering 2,000%. 2,000! It is an unparalleled multiplier for unlocking targeted micronutrients right in the human gut. So how does it do this? Well, piperine acts almost like a metabolic bouncer. It selectively shuts down hepatic glucuronidation pathways, so active herb fractions aren't destroyed by the liver before they can reach your bloodstream. Specifically, and again, this is for the clinical pros out there, piperine selectively inhibits the metabolic enzymes CYP3A4 and UDP glucuronosyl transferase. By temporarily pausing this specific metabolic enzyme inhibition process, piperine allows unprecedented systemic absorption and bioavailability for critical therapeutics. But it doesn't stop at absorption. Piperine acts as a powerful digestive enzyme activator while simultaneously deploying clear neuroprotective and antidepressant actions in the brain. Literally, the moment it hits your tongue, it stimulates taste bud receptors that fire immediate neurological signals straight down to the stomach wall. This triggers a dramatic increase in hydrochloric acid secretion, which speeds up digestion, optimizes protein breakdown, and lowers intestinal gas and dysbiosis. On top of that, modern neurological trials are revealing its therapeutic potential for long-term cognitive health. Piperine actively alters cerebral monoamine neurotransmitter pathways and prevents oxidative neural plaque degradation. It's a true cognitive preserver. All right, Section 5, the global market and macroeconomics. Let's zoom back out. The sheer demand for these biological functions completely dictates global shipping lanes. In fact, the etymological footprint of the word pepper perfectly mirrors the global maritime exploration and colonial expansion it sparked across early civilizations. The search for this botanical drupe historically connected ancient India to global colonial powers. It started as pipali in Sanskrit, morphed into the Latin piper, evolved into the Old English pipor, and even traveled east during the Ming Dynasty, where it was called hujiao, which literally translates to barbarian pepper in Mandarin Chinese, highlighting its introduction from foreign Western trading regions. Fast forward to today, and global trade routes have shaped a stark modern divide. We see roughly 500,000 to 600,000 metric tons moving annually. On one side, you have the absolute volume titans, Vietnam and Brazil. Vietnam dominates 35 to 40% of the global export supply using advanced high-density cultivation systems to dictate basic commodity container prices. Brazil uses highly mechanized, low-cost, automated post-harvest drying pipelines. But in stark contrast, you have traditional hand harvesting on India's Malabar coast. This produces lower volume, but yields absolute luxury benchmark grades, like Malabar Garbled and Telecherry Extra Bold, which are prized for their massive seed size, dense volatile oil complexities, and ultra-high piperine content. Now, you might assume all this pepper is going into our kitchen shakers. But actually, the largest net buyers of black pepper are not household spice jars. Because it contains those rich antimicrobial monoterpenes we discussed earlier, it serves as a massive, broad-spectrum shelf life extender for industrial food production. The true economic titans driving this industry are massive commercial meat packers and food processors who rely on its foundational flavor and natural preservative properties. And this huge industrial demand feeds right into commercial extraction. Massive volumes of raw peppercorns are routed into industrial chemical extraction units. Here, they meticulously separate pure black pepper oleoresin and pure piperine crystals. Once extracted, these concentrated liquids and isolated crystals are scaled up and injected into standard commercial spice blends, massive multivitamin formulas, and therapeutic pharmaceutical pain creams all over the globe. So, we really hope this explainer leaves you wondering about the hidden pharmacological power waiting right inside your everyday spice rack. Next time you twist that pepper grinder, remember, you are unleashing a clinically potent, enzyme-altering, macroeconomically dominating botanical marvel. If a single botanical drupe can reprogram human liver enzymes and rewrite historical trade routes, what other biochemical keys are hiding in your kitchen pantry? Keep learning, keep exploring, and definitely look closer at the world right in front of you.